Stop what you are doing right now. I need your full attention for what I'm about to say. Silver just crossed $100 per ounce. If you own silver right now, congratulations. You saw what others could not see. You were right. They were wrong. But listen to me very carefully. This is not the end. This is not even close to the end. What you are witnessing right now is just the opening scene of a much bigger movie. And the main character of this movie, Donald Trump. What I am about to expose in the next 30 minutes will completely change how you see the silver market, how you see Trump's recent moves, and most importantly, how you see your financial future. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why $500 silver is not some wild fantasy. It is not opium. It is not wishful thinking. It is mathematical inevitability. And it all comes down to one man's secret plan that the mainstream media refuses to talk about. So, if you are ready to have your mind blown, let us get into it. Welcome to the Hidden Economy. If you are new here, smash that subscribe button right now and hit that notification bell. What we expose on this channel, the mainstream media will never tell you. We dig deep, we connect dots, we show you what is really happening behind the scenes. So subscribe, like this video, and let us dive into the most important financial story you will hear this year. Alright, before I reveal Trump's secret plan, I need to give you some quick background. Do not worry, I will keep this part short because the real juice is coming after, but you need this context to understand why what Trump is doing is so incredibly significant. Here is the shocking truth that most Americans do not know. The United States government once held 3 billion ounces of silver. 3 billion. That is not a typo. That is not an exaggeration. For over 100 years, starting in the 1800s, America stockpiled silver like their survival depended on it. Because guess what? It did. Silver was critical for national security. It was used in weapons, electronics, photography, medicine, and 100 other applications. The government understood that in times of war, in times of crisis, the nation that controls the resources wins, and silver was one of the most important resources on Earth. By 1942, at the peak of World War II, America was sitting on almost 4 years' worth of total global silver production, just sitting in vaults, ready to be deployed whenever needed. But then something happened in the 1980s that changed everything. Two brothers from Texas, the Hunt brothers, tried to corner the silver market. They bought massive amounts of silver and drove the price from $6 to almost $50 per ounce. The government panicked, changed the rules, and then made a decision that I believe was one of the biggest financial mistakes in American history. They liquidated the entire strategic silver reserve, sold it all, 1 million ounces per week for years and years until there was nothing left. By 2002, America went from 3 billion ounces to zero. Nothing. And here's the kicker. After the government finished selling, silver prices bottomed around $4 and then started the biggest bull run in history, from $4 to over $100 today. That is more than 2,000% gains. The lesson here is simple. When governments sell, prices crash. When governments buy, prices explode. And that brings us to today, to Trump, to the secret plan that is about to change everything. Let me walk you through exactly what has happened in the last few months. And I want you to pay very close attention because each piece of this puzzle connects to something much bigger. Puzzle piece number 1, November 2025. The Trump administration quietly, without any fanfare, without any major media coverage, adds silver to the United States critical minerals list. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what? It is just a list. Who cares? Let me tell you why this is massive. Critical minerals are not just random commodities. Critical minerals are materials that the government considers essential for national security, economic stability, and defense capabilities. When something gets added to the critical minerals list, it opens the door for a government stockpiling, strategic reserves, trade protections, and massive federal investment. Trump did not add silver to this list for fun. He did it for a reason, a very specific reason. Puzzle piece number 2, December 8th, 2025. The G7 finance ministers hold an emergency call. The topic, export controls on critical minerals. Now, why would the world's most powerful economies suddenly need to discuss export controls on minerals? What changed? The answer is China. Puzzle piece number 3, January 1st, 2026. China enacts export controls on silver. They are now officially restricting how much silver can leave their country. Let that sink in for a moment. China, the world's second largest economy, the manufacturing hub of the entire planet, the country that produces everything from iPhones to solar panels, is now hoarding silver. This is not normal behavior. Countries do not randomly restrict exports of commodities. They do it when they believe something big is coming. They do it when they are preparing for economic warfare. They do it when they want to secure strategic advantages before their enemies can react. China made the first move. They drew first blood in the Civil War. And Trump is not the kind of guy who lets anyone make the first move without hitting back twice as hard. Puzzle piece number 4, January 5th, 2026. Just 4 days after China's export controls went into effect, the United States Department of Defense announces a partnership with J.P. Morgan to build a $7.4 billion state-of-the-art smelting facility in Tennessee. $7.4 billion. Let me say that number again so it really sinks in. $7.4 billion. That is not pocket change. That is not some small pilot project. That is a massive, serious strategic investment in the ability to process critical minerals, including silver, right here on American soil. Why would the Department of Defense, not the Commerce Department, not the Treasury, but the Department of Defense, be involved in building a metal processing facility? Because this is not about economics anymore. This is about war, economic war, financial war, resource war, and silver is one of the primary weapons. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. Here's where we start to see Trump's secret plan take shape. What if I told you that Trump is planning to rebuild the United States Strategic Silver Reserve? Think about it. Connect the dots with me. Dot 1. Trump adds silver to the critical minerals list. You only do this if you plan to treat silver as a strategic asset. Dot 2. Trump responds to China's silver hoarding within days. He's clearly paying attention to the silver market at the highest levels. Dot 3. Trump is investing $7.44 billion in mineral processing. You do not spend that kind of money unless you plan to process massive amounts of metal. 4. Trump has been obsessed with resource-rich territories. Greenland, Canada, Mexico, Venezuela. What do they all have in common? Massive mineral deposits. Every single action points in one direction. Trump is preparing to stockpile silver, and when he announces it publicly, the market will never be the same. Let me show you why this would break the silver market. And I mean completely, totally, absolutely break it. Here are the current silver inventories around the world. These are the numbers that keep silver analysts up at night. CONX, the main American commodities exchange, currently holds about 422 million ounces of silver in their vaults. The LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, holds about 790 million ounces. China's exchanges, the Shanghai Gold Exchange and Shanghai Futures Exchange combined, hold about 35 million ounces. And that number has been dropping fast. 15 million ounces gone in just the last couple of months. Add it all up. Every single registered ounce of silver in every major vault system on Earth, you get roughly 1.2 to 1.3 billion ounces. That sounds like a lot, right? Over a billion ounces. Now let me tell you why it is not nearly enough. The old U.S. Strategic Silver Reserve held 3 billion ounces at its peak. 3 billion. That is more than double what currently exists in all the world's vaults combined. If Trump decided to rebuild even a modest reserve, say 1 billion ounces, he would need to acquire almost every single ounce of available silver on the planet. But here's the thing about Trump. He does not do things small. He does things big league. If he discovers that America once held 3 billion ounces, do you really think he would settle for 1 billion? And even if he did want just 1 billion ounces, how exactly would he get it? Let us explore the options. Option 1. Buy silver on the open market. The moment the U.S. government starts buying silver in any significant quantity, word gets out immediately. Traders front-run the government, prices spike. $150, $200, $300, maybe $500 before the government even acquires a fraction of what it needs. This is exactly what happened during the Hunt Brothers era, but in reverse. When the government sells, prices crash. When the government buys, prices explode. Option 2. Nationalize domestic silver production. Total U.S. silver production is only about 35 million ounces per year. To accumulate 1 billion ounces from domestic production alone would take almost 30 years. 30 years is not acceptable when you are in an economic war with China. Wars are won in months and years, not decades. Option 3. Secure foreign silver supplies. And this is where Trump's recent foreign policy obsessions suddenly make perfect sense. Mexico is the world's largest silver producer. They mine over 200 million ounces per year. That is more than 5 times what America produces. Canada has massive untapped mineral resources. Greenland has rare earth elements and mineral deposits that nobody has fully explored yet. Venezuela has strategic metals and resources. When you look at Trump's aggressive moves toward these territories through the lens of resource warfare with China, everything clicks into place. This is not about building a bigger America for ego. This is not about territorial expansion for its own sake. This is about securing the raw materials that America needs to win an economic war against China, and silver sits right at the center of this strategy. Now let me explain why silver prices are going to $500, and honestly, why even that target might be too conservative. Reason number 1, the supply deficit is out of control. According to the Silver Institute, the silver market has been in a structural supply deficit for 5 consecutive years. That means global demand has exceeded global supply for 5 years straight. Year after year after year, the world consumes more silver than it produces. In 2024, the deficit was 17%. Let me put that in perspective. A 17% deficit in a globally traded commodity is absolutely insane. That is not a small imbalance. That is a massive structural problem that cannot be fixed quickly. Where's all the silver going? Solar panels. The solar industry is exploding and every panel needs silver. Electric vehicles. Every EV uses more silver than a traditional car. Electronics. Your smartphone, laptop, tablet, television, they all contain silver. Medical equipment. Silver has antibacterial properties and is used extensively in healthcare. 5G networks. The build-out of next-generation communications requires massive amounts of silver. Artificial intelligence. All those servers powering AI need silver in their components. The demand is not slowing down. It is accelerating. Every major trend in technology requires more silver, not less. Reason number 2, mine production cannot keep up. Here is something most people do not understand about silver. Unlike gold, most silver is not mined directly. About 70% of all silver production comes as a byproduct of mining other metals like copper, lead, and zinc. This means that even if silver prices go to the moon, miners cannot simply produce more silver. They would have to mine more copper or more lead first, and opening new mines takes years, sometimes decades. The supply side is essentially locked in for the foreseeable future. There is no quick fix. Reason number 3, inventories are draining fast. The silver that does exist in vaults is disappearing at an alarming rate. In October of last year, the US exported over 1,392 tons of silver to London. Why? Because the LBMA was running dangerously low on physical silver. They literally had to ship metal across the Atlantic Ocean because London's vaults were being depleted. And even with those emergency shipments, inventories continue to fall. The free float, meaning the silver that is actually available for purchase rather than just sitting in vaults for long-term storage, is at critically low levels. Some analysts believe the actual available silver is far less than the headline numbers suggest. Reason number 4, China is hoarding aggressively. When China hoards a commodity, prices go up. This is true for every resource throughout history. China has been accumulating gold for years, and look what happened to gold prices. Now they are doing the same with silver. China knows something. They are preparing for something, and they are making sure they have the silver they need before prices go vertical. Reason number 5, the short squeeze is building. For years, large banks and institutions have held massive short positions on silver. They have been betting against silver, suppressing the price through paper contracts and derivatives. But here's the thing about short positions. Eventually, they have to be covered. Eventually, the shorts have to buy back the silver they sold. And if prices are rising rapidly, they have to buy at much higher prices, which pushes prices even higher, which forces more shorts to cover, which pushes prices higher still. This creates a feedback loop that can send prices parabolic in a very short time. We saw a small preview of this in October when silver broke through $50. Lease rates, which represent the cost of borrowing silver, exploded to over 35%. That tells you how desperate people were to find physical silver to meet their obligations. Imagine what happens when silver breaks $150, $200, $300. The short squeeze could be historic. Reason number 6, and this is the big one, the Trump factor. Everything I have described so far, the deficits, the demand growth, the inventory depletion, the China hoarding, the short squeeze potential, all of this was already in place before Trump made his moves. Now add the possibility of the United States government entering the market as a massive buyer. Add the possibility of Trump announcing a new strategic silver reserve. Add the possibility of U.S. export controls on silver in response to China. Add the possibility of tariffs or trade restrictions that disrupt global silver flows. Any one of these announcements could send silver up $50 in a single day. All of them together, the price action could be unlike anything we have ever seen in commodity markets. $500 is not a fantasy. Given the fundamentals in the Trump wildcard, it might actually be a conservative target. Now, I want to address the risks, because I always keep it real with you. I'm not here to just pump silver and tell you everything is guaranteed. There are risks, and you need to understand them. Risk number 1, government intervention against higher prices. In 1980, when the Hunt brothers drove silver to $50, the government literally changed the rules. They made it so you could only sell silver, not buy. They crushed the market through regulation. Could they do it again? Possibly. But here's why I think it is less likely this time. Back then, the government was fighting speculators. The narrative was that greedy billionaires were manipulating the market for personal gain. The public was on the government's side. Today is different. Today we have a genuine supply crisis. Today we have China as a strategic adversary actively hoarding silver. Today the U.S. government itself needs silver for defense and manufacturing. It is very hard to suppress silver prices when you're simultaneously trying to build a strategic stockpile. The government would be working against its own interests. Risk number 2, a major economic recession. If we have a severe economic downturn, silver could fall along with everything else in the initial panic. We saw this in 2008 when silver dropped significantly during the financial crisis. But here's the important part. After the initial panic in 2008, silver went on one of its greatest bull runs ever. It went from $8 to almost $50 in just 3 years. And the fundamentals today are much stronger than they were in 2008. We did not have the solar boom. We did not have the EV revolution. We did not have the AI build-out. We did not have 5 consecutive years of supply deficits. We did not have China hoarding. Any dip caused by recession would likely be a buying opportunity, not a reason to abandon the thesis. Risk number 3, unexpected new supply. Maybe someone discovers a massive new silver deposit. Maybe technology improves dramatically and we can extract silver more efficiently. Maybe recycling rates increase significantly. These are all possibilities, but here's the reality. New mines take 7 to 10 years to develop from discovery to production. Technology improvements happen gradually, not overnight. Recycling helps at the margins, but cannot solve a 17% annual deficit. In the short to medium term, the supply picture is essentially fixed. There is no cavalry coming to save the shorts. The risks are real but manageable. The upside potential is enormous. Now, let me bring this back to what this means for you personally. Silver just crossed $100. Many people think this is the top. They think it is too late. They think they missed the boat. Those people are going to be wrong. Let me give you some perspective. In 1980, silver hit 49.45s. Adjusted for inflation, that would be over $150 in today's money. Silver just crossed $100. We have not even reached the inflation-adjusted high from 45 years ago. There is still significant upside just to match the previous peak. But now compare silver to gold. Gold hit $875 in 1980. Today, gold is trading around $4,191 per ounce. That is over 5.5 times the 1980 high. If silver followed the same trajectory as gold, if silver went 5.5 times above its 1980 high, we would be looking at silver over $270 per ounce. And that is without any Trump stockpile, without any additional China hoarding, without any short squeeze, just silver catching up to what gold has already done. Now layer in all the other factors, the supply deficits, the exploding demand, the inventory depletion, the government buying, the short covering. $300 becomes very realistic. $400 is possible. $500 is achievable if several factors align. And remember, the last time we had conditions, even remotely this bullish, was the late 1970s. People who bought silver in 1975 and held until 1980 made life-changing generational wealth. I believe we are in an even better setup today. The fundamentals are stronger, the supply situation is tighter, and we have the Trump wildcard that did not exist back then. So what should you do with this information? I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You need to make your own decisions based on your own research and your own financial situation. But I will tell you what the smart money is doing. I will tell you what the people who see this coming are doing. They are accumulating physical silver, not paper silver, not ETFs, physical metal that they can hold in their hands. Because when the real shortage hits, when the system gets stressed, paper promises will not be worth anything. Only physical metal counts. They are looking at silver mining stocks, companies that actually dig silver out of the ground. When silver prices rise, mining company profits explode. A 50% rise in silver could mean a 200 or 300% rise in well-positioned mining stocks. They are staying informed. They are watching Trump's moves. They are monitoring China's actions. They are tracking inventory levels. Because in a fast-moving market, information is the ultimate edge. And most importantly, they are acting now, not waiting, not hesitating, not hoping for a pullback that may never come. Let me leave you with one final thought. Throughout human history, silver has been money, real money. For thousands of years, civilizations used silver for trade, for savings, for preserving wealth across generations. The word for silver and the word for money are the same in many languages: French, Spanish, Hebrew. Because our ancestors understood that silver was not just a metal, it was a store of value that could not be debased, could not be printed, could not be created out of thin air, somewhere. Along the way, we forgot this. We started believing that paper dollars were real money. We started trusting central banks and governments to protect our wealth. We started thinking that deficits do not matter and debt can grow forever, but reality always wins in the end. The Federal Reserve has printed trillions of dollars. The national debt is over 36 trillion and growing every second. The government spends far more than it takes in every single year with no end in sight. This cannot continue forever. The math does not work. Something has to give. And when the paper system finally cracks, when confidence in fiat currency starts to break, what do you want to be holding? Paper dollars that can be printed into worthlessness by any central banker with a keyboard, or physical silver that has been real money for 5,000 years and cannot be created by anyone. Trump sees what is coming. That is why he is making these moves. China sees what is coming. That is why they are hoarding. The smart money sees what is coming. That is why they are accumulating. Now you see it too. Silver just crossed $100. This is not the end of the story. This is the beginning. The real fireworks have not even started yet. Trump's secret plan is unfolding right in front of our eyes. The pieces are all in place. The trigger is about to be pulled. The only question is whether you will be positioned to benefit or whether you will be watching from the sidelines wishing you had acted. If this video opened your eyes, if you learned something valuable, smash that like button right now. It helps the channel more than you know, and it helps spread this message to more people who need to hear it. Share this video with your friends, your family, anyone who cares about their financial future. They deserve to know what is coming. And if you are not subscribed to the hidden economy yet, what are you waiting for? We expose the secrets that the mainstream media will never tell you. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. We are living through history right now. The decisions you make in the coming weeks and months could define your financial future for the next several decades. Choose wisely. This is the hidden economy. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Stack silver. Stay sharp. The game is over for the doubters and the skeptics, but for you, the game is just getting started. Peace.